Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap. So happy to be here with you guys today on a Friday, a big Friday, a Final Takes Friday. I ask Alex and ask Cody anything Friday. Of course, joined by Cody Carpentier. You know him very well from here on the show. You know him very well from in the chat. You know him very well from on Twitter at Carpentier NFL and on the Roster Watch show, weekends, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Cody's going to come in here with me and go over some of these important things that we need to get to. So, Cody, I'm just going to go through the quick rundown here. Again, the theme. So here's what happened first. Before we get into any of it, we have to address what happened with Blake. Blake, it's been a tough day for a tough day for you. As you see, we still have the same theme of the day up from yesterday. The Lake Travis water meter has not been updated. We had a weird intro coming in. Things are a little bit different. Blake looks fine. He looks fine. His connection's good.
I'm a little dark, but
he looks healthy. He looks healthy.
Blake lost power after this whole summer. We've gotten through this mega heat dome, this horrible death ridge over the top of us, this high pressure ridge where we had all this time where it was like ERCOT could have shut down and like nobody would have, everybody would have been like, oh, of course they did. Like they managed to make it through. And I even told some of my friends, I'm like, you know what, guys, for all the trouble we give ERCOT whenever things go down, maybe we should give them a little bit of credit for getting us through this thing with no big.
And then we get to the last day.
We have like 2 days left before you start looking on the forecast for next week. We have like my daughter almost cried when I told her we're gonna have some lows next week in the 60s, and a couple like the last day, man, Blake's electricity goes out, so he's at his.
We're staying cool. We're at a friend's house.
Yeah, he's at a friend's house. He'll be staying cool, and but yeah, so we're working through that today. But it's gonna be a fun day because we do have a game that we're going to play. Texas Bama Final Takes. Blake's come up with some questions for us, and Cody and I will each answer these about the Texas Bama game coming up, and he will pick a winner for each take. And at the end, we'll have to choose. Maybe the chat can tell us something the loser has to do. My idea was maybe eat some hot sauce. That's what I always like to talk about. We can get it figured out. We'll have that. Cody and I, of course, we'll go through an NFL rundown. Cody, I'm not on the radio with you this weekend. I'm on with Trash Man this weekend, and you'll right.
Hey, you got the Trash Man this weekend.
God, Trash Man. Well, I figure you and I can run through some of the NFL main slate and just kind of talk about our takeaways. We have some injury reports come in today, some kind of interesting things opening up as I'm putting together the DFS cheat sheet over there at rosterwatch.com. Prize picks. Hey, the story that we put together last night. Let me just see. So the actual thing didn't hit, right? But it was it came close to hitting. And we talked about how we correlate lineups and we put them together the same way we talk about doing it in DFS. Well, if I share my screen here, let me see. I'm going to go screen share. Can I do a screen share, Blake, or is this going to screw everything up whenever?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay,
I believe in you.
So I go to my entries. Go to my entries from last night. So that's an open entry. So past entries. So you see, this is the one we put together. This we told a story about the big David Montgomery game, and it wasn't quite as big as we had hoped, right? But it did happen. We correlated it with the worst game for Jared Goff, so that correlates badly. Isaiah Pacheco correlated badly with the big David Montgomery game. But what we said was Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big game playing from behind, throwing it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Sky Moore. Well, Valdez-Scantling hits his Moore, but Mahomes didn't quite get there. And Sky Moore, by the way, Cody, golly, when is it going to be time to – I mean, just embarrassing. But there's some other picks that opened up later. So the David Montgomery stuff, I wish this Sam Laporte and this Justin Watson stuff would have been up whenever you guys were still here and I was giving away the picks because, once I saw these lines, I pounded the Moors on those. So good hit there, good hit with that one, another good hit with that one. So in all, if you played that 6-pick entry, you lost a little bit of money, but you made up a little bit back. All we needed was Sky Moore to do something. But we're going to go through some prize picks for tonight. Prize picks has the Flex Friday. So we'll look and see if there's any college football tonight or whatever there is tonight. We'll put together a lineup because it's a free $20 play. If you lose, you get your $20 back. So we'll do that. We'll talk about some of our DFS stuff. Cody, have you heard this story about Matt Stafford and his wife went on this podcast?
What happened?
Well, she was just saying that he's having trouble connecting with like some younger millennial types. So we'll talk about that. You know, if it's hard to connect with these younger millennials. What's up to the what's up to the? You're kind of in that age group. What's up to the chat? Yeah, Jason von Rosenberg, Colin Crowder, Roel Requena, Scotty B, Text Guy 2, Ben Webb. What's up, fellas? So good to see all you guys here in the chat. I know it's Friday. It's kind of hard for everybody to log on with picking kids up from school and getting ready for the weekend, but definitely happy to have you around for when you can be here on a Friday. We will talk about my 5 pick that I want to get turned in this week for the Circa Millions. Cody can, let us know what he thinks about my picks for that. I've been having to deal with Siege, and he won't let me pick some of my favorite ones. So I'd like to hear about that from Cody. And then, of course, we're going to maybe get to the Zena Omiazolo breakdown. We got that huddle reel. I'd like to just do kind of like a watch along. Maybe me and Cody can just watch this huddle reel, and we can tell you what we think about this prospect.
I was hoping you were going to do that because I had that on the list today, and I didn't make it. I didn't get that far down the list today. You mentioned his name like 2 days ago. You said we were going to talk about him, and I didn't get to turn the tape on yet. So I'm glad we're going to watch it live.
Yeah, we'll just watch it. We'll just do a watch along. It'll be like, did you ever watch Mystery Science 3000, Mystery Science Theater 3000, whenever you were little? Have you even heard of that?
No.
This might not even be right, but I think that's a show that
1989.
Yeah, I think that's a show where they they all just kind of watch. It's just a show where they're watching a movie and you just kind of watch them watch the movie. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like that thing that Ketchum does on the weekend, man. He's about to stream about 8 hours of him watching football games this weekend. Oh man. Anyway, all right. So Blake, with all further, and we can't even because what we did have planned, Blake probably put in 10 hours of work getting this ready. He had confetti ready to go off. He had squirt guns, all this stuff, music, drum rolls to start this stuff out. Turned out he lost power, so it's just going to be plain Jane. Here comes the game. We can do our own drum roll. Bama, Texas, final takes. Blake, what's the first one?
All right. Rank the top 5 Texas players most important for a Longhorns victory.
All right. Should I go first on the first one, or do you want to go first and then we'll switch?
You want to do like 5-5, 4-4, 3-3, like back and forth?
No. I think Blake, are you saying that we each rank our top 5?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
Cody might be at a disadvantage.
Dude, I got this easy money.
All right. Okay. I mean, yeah, Cody's been studying this team. All right, then go.
You said you were going first. Just give me.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so should we do it where we make it suspenseful, where we start at 5 and then count
That's
down?
That's what I asked you. Is you want to go 5,
down.
4-4, 3-3, like that?
Okay. Let's. Oh, all right. So you want to switch off?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Let's go back.
So we count down from 5 to 1.
Let me write them down. So,
all right, I'll go first.
Go first.
All right, Jake Majors, number 5, because of something you mentioned yesterday, and I'm going to keep forgetting the guy's name that was on 2 days ago, the Alabama guy. Blake, you could probably mention his name right now. You probably remember offhand.
Kyle Henderson
mentioned it with their second or third string linebacker, Quandarius Robinson, 34, who he basically explained as like a slashing linebacker that blitzes up the center and kind of crosses the gap and hits the A gap on either side, whichever side he feels. And just having that cohesion up front. And you saw it last week. They kind of struggled a little bit. You mentioned it, of course, all week. I think that just that interior. So I'm just going to say Jake Majors, number 5, and keeping Quinn upright. Like that's got to be like the number one goal. I know maybe Majors should be a little bit higher, but I'm just going to put him at 5 to start.
That's good. Okay. Well, I mean, so that's a good take. My number 5 is going to be Tavondre Sweat. I think that Tavondre Sweat needs to play a game at the same level that we saw versus Rice. He needs to be fitting up the run gaps. He needs to be he needs to be able to handle himself with that offensive line, take on double teams, because McClellan is he's a good runner. He's a slashing runner. If they get their run game going, it's going to be trouble whenever you pair it up with Milroe. And do you know what interesting thing that I heard, Cody, and you probably heard this too, because I know you watched the Pat McAfee show. Like that's your guy, right? Did you watch today or yesterday whenever Orlovsky went on there and picked Texas to win?
No, I didn't.
You didn't see it? Okay, so Orlovsky went on there in front of the McAfee was broadcasting there at Bama, right? He had Saban on today, all this stuff.
Oh, so that was today then, yeah.
But so he was in front of the whole, and they were just booing Orlovsky so bad when he said Texas was going to win, and he's just like, well, Texas, they need to blitz their. He said the one thing about the running backs is if they can get that interior penetration, and if they can find ways to get to those running backs and pass pro where they can be winning as far as a numbers game, he says that those running backs are brutal and pass pro. He said some other interesting things. He said that Jalen Milroe, he's like, people keep calling him a dual threat quarterback. He's not a dual threat quarterback. He's a runner at this point. I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of thought that his throwing motion and everything looked okay. I thought that he doesn't look like Joe Montana out there and stuff, but he certainly looks reasonable to me. So I'm gonna say Sweat, just because last week he was the best player on the defense. I'd like to see him play at that level again. I'd like to see some more of the interior push and the interior penetration that he got. Of course, it's going to be a much tougher task this week, right, versus Alabama than versus Rice. I think it's important that he sort of plays up to that level.
I'm gonna have Sweat a little higher. I'm gonna go 4. I'm gonna go Jalen Ford, strictly because I think they're gonna try and run the ball down Texas's throat, because this interior defensive line, Sweat mentioned, has gotten some pop the last couple days, of course, after the Rice game. But I think Alabama, going into the season, their goal was to do this, ground and pound thing where it's literally like 60% run, and with Milroe, with McClellan, and all the other backs. I think they're going to try and do that. And I think Ford, who last year had 10 tackles in this game, 2 TFLs, like if he can work off of Sweat, work off all these defensive linemen and fit all these gaps and just at least slow the run game down and have them face some third and longs, I think that would go a long way in just keeping Alabama. And Ketch kind of mentioned it earlier this week of like how he thinks it's going to be a low scoring game. It's like, that's how you keep Alabama at least contained, is put them in those third and longs. And I think Jalen Ford, he's a guy that when Alabama's pushing to run the ball on first and second down, to slow them down.
If for just from what you've seen in one game out of Jalen Ford and David Benda, those two guys, if you were Coach PK, because somebody's asking in the chat, how does PK do versus Heck 892? Here, I'll stick it up. I don't think I can stick it up. Oh, yes, I can. So how does PK do versus dual threat QBs? And a lot of times what we've seen in the past is sometimes he'll a lot of times what we've talked a whole lot about before these coming into these games is he going to put a spy on there? Would you, if you were him, would you have a preference about whether you would want Ford to spy him or whether you want Benda to spy him?
I think I'd want Benda to spy him.
I think right. Okay, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too. Because it's just something that people have been asking a lot in chat, and I'm just like, well, of course would be Benda. You want Ford coming downhill and doing the stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's number 4 for you is Jalen Ford. Number 4 for me is going to be Jahdae Barron, and the reason for that is, this is you heard Jim Nagy whenever Jim Nagy came on, and he said, this is one of the best nickel corners in all of football, right? He's a dude who, and by the way, Cody, have you shown them that big plate of meat that you have?
Oh, this one over here.
Are you still eating that thing?
Yeah, dude. I'm just taking little bites out of it.
He's on the show straight up eating.
It's just medium rare ribeye right there.
Hey, so I guess I've never really asked you. I mean, whenever we're traveling and stuff like that, you just eat like a pretty normal diet. You'll eat a sandwich. You don't really eat that stuff at home. Do you just eat meat?
At home, dude, it's like 95% meat. 95% it's ribeyes. I joked about chicken the other day, but like chicken thighs, because you've talked about the air fryer. I have an air fryer that I can bake in, I can broil in, I can air fry in. I'll bake that stuff in there: bacon, chicken, ribeyes, hamburger, and then
What about
I'll like dabble in some rice.
vegetables? What about
So
vegetables?
I'll dabble in some rice. Like my neighbor,
Dabble.
It's not a vegetable.
my neighbor Elaine, she's like in her 80s,
Yeah.
and she got me to eat some vegetables the other day. I was mowing the yard, and she just kind of reached her hand over the fence, and she's got a couple of like little grape tomatoes. That's like the most vegetables I've had in like 2 weeks. So that's about the extent.
That's wild, man. But because you just eat like a normal dude whenever we're hanging out. I guess you just do you just come home from our trips just feeling horrible?
Well, no, like I'll also like, I have this weird craving of like every time, and maybe due to like commercials. I was just talking to Stephanie, my wife, about this, but like when football comes on, I have like this innate like thought like, hey, I got to eat a pizza. And so like that's like my splurge. My splurge is like we'll go to like Kroger because it's right down the street, and I'll just buy like a cheese stuffed DiGiorno and just pop it in the oven, and I'll just eat the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
And
hilarious.
like it's nothing, but like otherwise it's literally always like I said, all the meat. But like you mentioned, when I'm on like trips and stuff, like I'll be like, Alex, let's go to the steakhouse, or like let's go with some shrimp cocktail or something, like because that's good. But like I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, no man, I can't have a burger with a bun, or I can't have ice cream. Like I'm gonna go do that stuff because like I said, when I'm home, it's 95%, ribeye, hamburger, et cetera, et cetera. It's just one of those things.
All right. Just to reset, we're doing ranking the top 5 most important Longhorns for a victory this Saturday. We got Cody at number 5, Jake Majors, number 4, Jalen Ford, Alex, number 5, Tavondre Sweat, number 4, Jade Barron.
Yeah, and so with Barron, Cody and I we mentioned earlier talking about, if you had to choose somebody to spy him, to spy Milroe, maybe it would be Benda, but I do think that the key to the whole contain aspect and the just don't let him kill you with his feet, that's going to fall a whole ton on Jade Barron. And, not to mention that he's going to be the force player and the contain player on a whole lot of this stuff. They're probably going to bring him down into the box a whole lot. It's where he does a lot of his best work. And he's a good physical open field tackler. He doesn't really let guys by him. He does not blow contains. It's one of those things that if you look at the deep dig, he's a guy who's traditionally you'll see these nickel corners, you'll see the defensive ends, you'll see guys who are outside linebacker types. These players are the ones who are by far the ones who have the highest blown contains because they're in position to be the force player a lot more often than some of these others. And so, him just being able to keep contained, not letting Milroe get outside of him, making sure that he can, get his head across in the open field, wrap up, tackle him, bring him down. He's a big guy. He's a fast guy. He's very elusive. So you have that to deal with. And then you also have the fact to deal with. It's like the Alabama offense, they do all these little quick hitters up the, just right up the seam right there. They'll do like quick little screens, all this where he's going to have to come up, make big open field tackles. He's going to be a guy who Texas is going to need to depend on to like really be good with his assignments to keep big plays from getting busted open. So I think, so on defense, he's the most important player on defense as far as a Texas victory for me is Jade Barron. So yeah, go Sweat at 5, Jade Barron at 4.
All right, so I had Ford at 4, and I'm going to put Sweat here at 3. And Jade is not going to be in my top 5, but I completely I see exactly where you're coming from with that. But I'm focusing strictly on the inside run because I think that's what Alabama's going to try to do. So that's why I'm focusing on Sweat on the line and Ford behind him. I just think like that's what Alabama's going to try and do. They're going to try and run it down Texas's throat, and we're going to see if it works. It's going to be Tavondre Sweat, and it's going to be Ford, who I think are going to be the players to watch on defense. You mentioned Sweat. I don't really have to go back through everything you said, so I'm going to keep it short-winded, but I think Sweat's 3rd on here.
Okay.
We have somebody in chat. So who's this in chat? They're giving their Ben Webb says Burke number 4, got to keep contain. Majors number 3, Worthy number 2, need big plays. Quinn number 1. Somebody's saying Darwin Lemon in the chat. Great to see you, brother. Darwin Lemon is saying Sweat and Collins. Jay Ward, the ultimate waterfowl killer. He's saying, can we please get a post route instead of sideline vertical this week? Well, I think if Quinn would, that was the one where people said, they were running the wrong routes. I'm like, well, I don't think Worthy tracked that ball over this backside of his wrong side shoulder, because he was running the wrong route. So all right, so am I up to my number 3?
Yes, you're on number 3.
Hold on. So what was Cody's number 5? Oh, Cole Hudson. No,
Jake Majors, Jalen Ford, T'Vondre Sweat.
Okay, well, my number 3 is Jake Majors. Okay. And it's because of the stuff we've been talking about all week with the same as Cody just said, just the A gap stunt stuff. It's like we saw it from him last year. Hayden Connor's usually good with it. Majors is usually kind of good with it. So, they don't call him the football cyborg for no reason. He's very, very, very smart. He's a good player. He understands. He's a good. You can see why they like him and why they've been so reticent to take reticent. Blake, is that a word? Reticent?
Yeah.
Like hesitant?
Is that a word?
Is that the same
My
thing?
friend says it's the word.
Like, is this? Well, ask your friend. Is it the same thing as hesitant?
Is it the same thing as hesitant?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Cody says so.
I believe Cody.
Okay. Blake, tell your friend to make himself useful. Okay. All right. Let's see.
He is making himself useful. I'm at his place.
I guess he's letting you use his air conditioning. Okay. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that they've been so reticent to take out Jake Majors, not only because he's surrounded by all these younger players and everything like that, and he's been he's kind of a guy who can he can identify the mic, he can identify the zero, he can let guys know certain tip them off to certain things. He's got a freshman guard next to him pretty much no matter what happens last season, right? It was good to have this smart guy in there. And so there are certain times when we can complain about Jake Majors and all this. This can't be a game where we complain about Jake Majors not being able to get pushed and not like all the rest. This needs to be a game where we can say, look, Jake Majors is going to have his drawbacks, right? He always will. But boy, man, I'm sure I'm glad they had things figured out with those stunts. Sure, I'm glad that they had that communication down. And they were able to get those things picked up. So it's important that that's the narrative that we're talking about with Jake Majors coming out of this game, is that, hey, he's got his drawbacks. We get it. They're probably going to look to improve on him at some point. But golly, man, in these Alabama games, he's been good as far as not making those big mistakes.
All right, number 2, I'm going to go with Ja'Tavion Sanders.
Woo! That's a big take. All right.
Kind of off the wall. So last year he only had 3 receptions for 4 yards in this game. Bijan had 3 for 73 out of the backfield. I don't know if they're going to get that out of the backfield this year. Obviously, Kylan Robinson had a big reception this past week, but I think they're going to need something from somebody else, right? Because Kool-Aid McKinstry's on the outside for Alabama, and they got some good safeties in Malachi Moore and Caleb Downs that are Downs is young and Malachi is older, playing the star position for Alabama. They just got a really good back end, and if they can take away X or Adonai Mitchell, it's going to be important for somebody else to do something. And because they don't have a Bijan level talent in that backfield, I want Ja'Tavion Sanders, the guy that, consensus is talked about as a top 40 guy. I want him to take a step up. Last year, 3 receptions for 4 yards. This year, in week 1, what do you have? 2 for 44 and a touchdown. I want something more. I want 5-6 receptions. Give me a 30-yard touchdown. Do something more than that. Help and assist Quinn in the middle of the field, and because all I've heard you guys talk about on all the shows is the deep ball. How about we get some over the middle and some out routes to JT Sanders? How about we get some of that?
I like that. Oh, that's a good take. I'm worried that Blake's going to give this. We have a whole game that we're doing, and we're just on the first question.
Well, it's a good one,
yeah, but I have a feeling that Blake's gonna get to this one. We
got time. We got 2 more spots.
All right. All right. My number 2. This is going to be a weird one, but my number 2, I think Cole Hudson probably plays right guard, and if he does, that's my second most important. We can't come into this thing and you know what I'm saying. He needs to play really well. He needs to play.
It's Campbell then, right?
Like it would be Campbell, or they could go. I mean,
but I'm saying level of importance. Like if it's not Hudson and it's Campbell, like Campell needs to rebound. Period.
The right guard needs to play well. It can't play like last week. So maybe I should rephrase that. Insert right guard here, right? Insert right guard here. This dude needs to play well. Super chat $4.99 UST. Who is this? Oh, Jay Ward. Thank you, brother. We need a big win in Tuscaloosa to break the curse that started in 2009. I couldn't agree more, my friend. Jay Ward always bringing the solid takes here on Football with Friends. Boy, are we having some fun on
it. We love Jay Ward.
Yep. Okay. But I mean, it's just right guard for sure, and even more so if it's DJ Campbell. I really. He said that Sark said yesterday it's been an intense week of practice. He implied that was verified by the Catapult or the Zebra Technologies. So if it was an intense week of practice, he thought it looked really good. He thought that they had the details right at the walkthrough, unlike how they did last Thursday. Then we just got to hope that right guard thing is figured out, because it was pretty bad last week, and it wasn't just him. It was also the center. It was also the left guard. I do think though that this is the kind of game where we can get a little bit better game out of Hayden Connor. He's another smart player. He's going to be good at understanding where things are coming from, understanding like this feels weird. Why am I not, why do I feel like I'm on an island all of a sudden? Whenever that kind of thing happens, man, you need to get your head on a swivel and realize that you're about to get targeted. Like you know what I'm saying? So he's a guy who can figure that stuff out. So just the right guard though, whether it's Cole Hudson, whether it's DJ Campbell, whether it's Cam Williams, but that's the second most important as far as I'm concerned.
So now let's see, because we've gone through 2 through 5 with each of you. Is number 1 the same?
I'm sure.
Right?
No? Oh, it's not.
Oh, okay. There's a curveball.
Okay, a curveball. Oh, so I'm about to win this thing by default. Okay, let's hear.
No. You know why you're not? Because you said exactly why earlier this week. You said it wasn't Quinn's fault. He didn't look bad last week. He was fine, right? They got cooking in the third. They got cooking in the third quarter, and then they pulled him out. I think Sark pulled him out for a reason, because I think if they leave him in, they score 50, 51, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? Like it's Rice, right? So they took him out. The offense was humming, I thought. I don't think Quinn is number 1 on this list. I don't think Quinn's top 5 on this list for this exact reason. Is I think his competency level is above par, and I'm going to go with the bookend tackles, Kelvin Banks and Christian Jones, because the best player on the entire field, Dallas Turner. That's why. Because if you can't slow Dallas Turner down and Quinn's on his butt, it doesn't matter. And the edges on Alabama, I mean, it's kind of the entire conversation. We talked about Majors. You talked about Hudson and Campbell. I'm just going to say these tackles last year, you said Banks, I think, scored a 79 in this game on the deep dig, right? If he does that again, scores a 79, and Christian Jones is up there, I think if these guys can at least contain Dallas Turner and if he doesn't touch the quarterback, like I don't see how they lose the football game. I'm just going to put it that way. Quinn, I think, can play average, and as long as the bookend tackles completely contain Dallas Turner, I don't think it's close. I think Texas wins the football game.
Okay, well, so that's his number 1. I mean, my number 1 is the guy who we're talking about, like protecting, and the guy we're talking about making sure stays upright, and the guy that touches the football on every play, and the guy who is going to be the face of the team going into Tuscaloosa. Of course, the top 5 the number 1 most important player for Texas victory is Quinn Ewers. He needs to play really well. He needs to do really well.
I don't think so.
He needs to elevate his game and have a game like he did last year versus Bama before getting hurt. All right. So
you want to take Alex?
Yes, yes, of course.
The tackles are so much more important to this Texas team into winning this game, to slowing down Dallas Turner, and to slowing down this entire defensive line. That's why I brought up Majors earlier. It's why you brought up Majors and Hudson. The tackles are so important in this one that I think if Quinn gets knocked out of the game in the first play of the game, I think they win.
What?
Like that. If Quinn gets knocked out of the game on the first play, they win the game still. Texas does.
if the tackles and everybody that you're talking about plays the way that you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got a lot of faith in Blake Murphy, Cody. I don't know if you're going to take this one, Blake. Hey, who does the chat say wins? I think I won. Chat. Hey, Blake.
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
We can't just rely on the chat, man. You got to be the ultimate arbiter.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one that's not sitting here talking about Texas Longhorns football every? Am I the only outsider in the chat?
Yeah, you've kind of becoming a bit of an insider here, Cody.
Let's reset the list. Let's reset the list. We'll let the chat let us know. I think my vote's going to go to Alex. I love Cody's boldness, but Quinn has to be on the list, I think. But here's the list. Top 5 most important Longhorns for a victory this Saturday. Alex said Devondre Sweat, number 5, Jahdae Barron, Jake Majors, Cole Hudson, and Quinn. Cody said Jake Majors, Jalen Ford.
No. Right guard.
Insert
or Cole Hudson. Yes.
Yep.
Including Cole Hudson. Cody had Jake Majors 5, Jalen Ford 4, Sweat 3, Jatavian Sanders 2, and the tackles number 1.
All right. Somebody's saying that Cody wins. Hold on. Who's saying Cody wins? He's calling you Joe Burrow's brother, but I mean, I think he's talking about you. Everybody says that my son looks like Joe Burrow. I'm not sure I do. That's a 2 a.m. Orangebloods take, Cody. Cody's a much bigger man than Alex. So I'll say Cody's list is bigger. Is what Scotty P says. Come on, he's not that, but he's a good bit bigger than me for sure. Corleone, they say Cody wins. Everybody says Cody wins.
The chat's on board with Cody.
You guys, man. All right,
Easy win.
We're here to have some fun. Cody takes the easy win.
A dusting.
Now they're just
someone say it was a dusting.
It's like a sweep. Not a single person has said Alex. Oh my gosh. All right, dude, we have some super chats to get to. And I can't believe it. This is we're calling this game Texas Bama final takes, and we've gotten through all of one question.
We got a bunch more coming.
We got one question. We got a bunch more coming up next.
This Orangebloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the best defensive playmakers for the Texas program over the last decade. I'm talking about edge rusher Joseph Ossai. Ossai was one of the best players to come out of Tom Herman's 2018 recruiting class, although he was a low 4-star prospect who only ranked number 31 in the state by Rivals.com. Not a single recruiting service had him ranked as an elite prospect or inside of a national top 125 list. When we look at Ossai's recruitment, it was pretty cut and dry fairly early on that there were 3 schools that stood out above the rest. From the summer of 2017 all the way into October and November, Ossai kept a top 3 of Texas, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame. Of the Longhorns, Ossai said that Todd Orlando and Oscar Giles used the following sales pitch on him. Quote, "They tell me I could be that Nashawn Hughes type of player. When I watch some of these close games that they've been in, I can place myself in that defense and see myself making the moves to finish those plays. I watch how I could impact the defense and picture helping some of those close games be wins." The battle eventually turned into a Texas versus Texas A&M battle, with Tom Herman's staff taking on a Jimbo Fisher staff that had just replaced Kevin Sumlin. In fact, the Aggies had been considered the heavy frontrunner for Ossai, but the dynamics of his recruitment changed the moment Sumlin was fired from Texas A&M. It was the opening that the Longhorns dearly needed and received. In fact, by the time January had rolled around, Orangebloods was reporting from an A&M source that the Longhorns had taken the lead for Ossai. On the last weekend before signing day, Ossai took a surprise official visit to Oregon, but it still turned out to be a battle between the Longhorns and Aggies all the way up until signing day, when he eventually chose the Longhorns.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Oh, yes, football with friends is fun as hell. We are back here on a Friday. It was a big Specs Friday for me earlier. I went to Specs. Reloaded up on one of the nice big bottles of Hornitos for the game this weekend. If I was just a little bit more confident that Texas was going to win, I would have gone with the extra, $25-$30 to get the Casamigos. But listen, every single time I always go in there, I always ask them great questions, and I'll give you a great tip about specs. The wine guy at the Bee Cave location, he's great. And he'll give you suggestions. He'll talk to you about, and I think they're like this at all the specs. I can only speak for mine. I know you've only been in business since 1962, 4-time National Retailer of the Year if you're doing things the right way. But he got me on to these last week. He got me onto this wine. If you're interested in a $20 to $22-ish wine in that range that feels more like a $40 to $45 wine, he got me onto this one. Can you write this down in the chat, Blake? Or can I write something in chat now?
Yeah, you can write it down.
Okay, here's how it's spelled: Bruatacao. It's like Brutacao, I think, something like that. You can look in chat and you can see it. And it is estate bottled. Not many wines you get in that $20 range are estate bottled. So make sure and go check that out. I guarantee you that you're gonna absolutely love it. The Cab and the red blend from Mendocino. The chat is saying that because the backup QB is everyone's favorite player, I guess. Oh, look at this. Colby S. It says, is that a celebrity tequila? Sadly and very ashamedly, I must admit that yes, Casamigos, it has George Clooney's signature on it. It's the most embarrassing thing ever to pull this out. But the thing is, it's so good. It tastes like it has this powdery kind of almost vanilla-y finish at the end. It's very, 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 very good. Okay, Jesse Eldridge, thank you for the super chat, brother. Or my lady, Jesse's one of those like Alex. You never know for sure. The starting five of the offensive line, period. Ewer stays vertical and clean, and we have running lanes. Game over. Well, very, very good.
Fair enough. I
certainly do agree there. Super chat. If you're Saban, do you shadow Worthy with Kool-Aid the entire game? You know, Anwar had a. Did anybody see when Anwar had a guest on when he asked that? I'm going to text him.
I did not.
He asked if he's going to shadow, because I don't know if he's going. I don't know if he's going to shadow. I guess the question would be, there is something on this YouTube channel where you guys can go and find it, and I think it's probably on a thumbnail where it's like maybe they took a little clip of it and they put it up, but like that question can be answered.
I think that was from the Texas Bama preview with Kyle Henderson, which was a separate video on the channel as well.
So you can go and look at that and see if you know what he said. If it were me, of course I would. I mean, of course I would. Yeah. I would have him shadow all game.
Why wouldn't you? Like that's
just because
that player, and then you bracket Adonai on the other side. That's why I say Jatavian's the most important, like one of the most important pieces, because it's like if they can take those two receivers out, then what? You don't really have the talent at the running back position, at least currently, right? Baxter has upside, but it's not Bijan. It's Jatavian. Like that's what's left if you can, and Whittington, and Whittington had a good game last year, but like, wouldn't that be what you would do as a D coordinator against Texas? You would try to put your stud on the stud.
I mean, I don't want 30% target share, Xavier Worthy doing Xavier Worthy things, doing Devontae Smith things against me. I don't want that to happen. Kool-Aid is the best. I mean, do you think he's the best corner in the draft? It feels right like he is. Yeah. There are a few that people say might be as good or better than Kool-Aid, and we're going to have a lot of Cody will be on the show more and more as we get into draft season, and we're going to talk about all these guys as we familiarize ourselves with them. But to me, that's what Chad Gibson is saying is sort of what I would think is that it seems to me that when you think about a Saban defense, he would prioritize those types of players who could be better on the boundary, better to the field. With that being said, Kool-Aid is the one that matches up with Worthy best, right? So if you have that good matchup, and he's a guy who could play either, right? He could play either. So I think that I would get good on good. I don't want there to be a chance of somebody I don't want a chance of Xavier Worthy taking over the football game on.
Yeah.
So
let's transition this into a final take question I have, which is, which Bama player worries you the most?
Well, now it's like I probably would have said. Well, are we allowed to say Milroe? Well, I mean, is Milroe?
You say anybody?
Well, you know who worries Sark the most, Milroe. I mean, he has dreams about like Milroe coming and robbing his grave and stuff. Like he's I'm telling you, man, he's
the one that recruited Milroe to Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the way that he talks about Milroe is the way that you talk about a guy who you are seriously worried about, and he knows him really, really well. I mean, the ones that come to mind for me, and Cody will probably have others. I mean, Kool-Aid worries you. Number 15 worries you. What is that, Turner? 15?
Yep.
15 worries you. Mm-hmm. Who's the guy you're talking about? Was that 30, Cody? A-gap guy? 34? That guy worries you. But I think Milroe is the one. Like, if you're just talking about the guy that worries me the most, I think about Milroe getting free. He's a big dude. If he gets into open space and he gets, to the third level of the defense, and now we're talking about pursuit angles from guys like Catalon, who knows, Catalon. He was a super physical player before, but he's been dealing with all kinds of injury stuff. How comfortable is he going to be? We've seen Jaron Thompson get to these games where he's one of these guys who is capable of missing 4 or 5 tackles in one game. Milroe is exactly the kind of guy that you worry about on the back end there. So yeah, I would say that's a good one too. Whoever lines up against the RG, number 90 looks like he'll number 90 will be a problem. I should pull up their roster and just know what these guys' names are. Because I've just watched the games, so I know their numbers. But Cody, you can go on. For me, it's Milroe.
Yeah, I think Milroe's got to be on the top of that list, if not 1, 2. Mm-hmm. But I think you can definitely make the argument that, I mean, we know this just from watching the amount of football I'm sure everybody's watched, is that the difference makers, especially at the college level in the running game at quarterback, make unexplainable differences. Like Cam, even Johnny Manziel had the legs, Lamar, Anthony Richardson, like all these guys. If you have anything above competency level at the running game at quarterback, it changes the entire dynamic. So if you can't slow them down, then you're just kind of in trouble. That's kind of why you talked about spying earlier with Binda. It's like that could be another one that maybe is an underrated guy that we didn't put on the list. Is like if they do decide to spy Milroe with Binda, like Binda becomes a guy that you could say is honorable mention on our top 5 list. But I think you're right with Milroe. The only other one, just, and this is going to be just biased towards listening to Kyle the other day, is Quandarius, and obviously Turner. Turner doesn't even need to be explained.
Hold on, which one's Quandarius again? 34?
34. That just the idea that, because the way that Kyle explained it was that this guy's really not the best linebacker, right? He's just really long, really lanky, really athletic. He's like 6'4", I want to say like 230 maybe.
He's listed at 6'5", 231.
There you go.
Quandarius Robinson.
So and basically what he said was that he's not the best linebacker, but what he's really good at is he's really athletic, and he just absolutely is a missile when it comes to hitting that line at the perfect time. And it's like, if they do that, 12 times, and he's successful 12 times, that's going to be the most agitating thing you watch all Saturday. It's like once a drive or twice, 1.5 times a drive, bang, right through, and it's like the play's just dead because he blows it up, he sacks the quarterback, whatever happens, like that could be the thing where it's just like, come on, it's like the only thing you're talking about, because it's like you can't slow that one guy down. That's what I guess that worries me as well.
Yeah, that kind of length penetrating inside, especially when you got if it is cold, like if you got that guy doing it, you might be wishing that you have a long armed, grapevine armed Cam Williams in there at the right guard instead of a dude with short arms like Cole Hudson next to another guy with short arms like Jake Majors. Those longer dudes are super hard to engage with sometimes. Okay, and what did we say he was? 231. I'm looking at his photo. He's been like you said, he's not been that good a player for him. It looks like he's been a really good special teams guy, but I guess now he's a senior and they're kind of developing him into a more of a prominent kind of specialty role there in that one particular aspect. Okay.
All right, y'all want to flip it now?
Well, wait. I mean, who's the one who won?
Well, y'all both said Milroe number 1, right?
Oh.
Or did you disagree? I mean, we kind of listed out a few.
I basically said Quandarius was 1 because I just didn't want to agree with. I didn't want to do the same thing as Alex. That's basically
okay. Sure, but
all right. So who's the winner? I say Milroe, and he says this guy that's mainly played special teams. Come on, guys. Please, guys, tell me. Tell me that you guys tell me you guys at least are gonna go with me on this one, or is Cody gonna win again? Are you kidding? It has to be Milroe.
I agree with you.
Milroe hasn't been truly hit yet. Hold on, wait. Milroe committed to Bama after Drake decommitted for Bama and flipped. Are you guys telling me that you're siding with Cody again? No,
yes, of course they are.
You gotta be kidding me. Corleone Burgess finally comes back to Team Alex. Golly, I'm just come on. All right, well,
okay. Guess what? I'm gonna come in this chat on Monday morning, and if they lose by 20, and because this kid has 4 sacks,
you're not just coming in the chat. You're coming on the show for sure.
If that happens, you come on
the show. That's the real winners
and
losers.
I'll eat the I'll eat the
you eat the hot sauce.
I'll eat the super hot sauce.
If Malik Murphy goes and wins the game, it's going to be the Cody celebration show.
Oh God. Yes, for sure.
Quandarius takes out Quinn. Malik comes back and wins.
Oh God! Don't even put it into the ether, Cody. All right, so I think that. All right, let's just announce the winner, Blake.
Alex.
Oh, perfect! I love it.
Milroe's a mystery.
Yes.
And you don't know what you're gonna get. He's a box of chocolates.
Okay.
Texas player that worries you the most.
I'll let Cody go.
Oh, I mean, I could go Quinn. I could definitely take Quinn. And we talked about the whole offensive line, though. Like,
but you were just so confident in Quinn a minute ago.
Yeah. No, actually, it wasn't. I was saying
you were saying you were so confident that he wasn't in the top 5 most important players. I guess you're confident in the quarterback position.
I'm confident in his competency. Like, okay. I think
if you're confident in his competency, why do you worry about him?
No, I said I could put him here.
Okay.
Because
I mean, you could.
You don't worry about his frame. You don't worry about his deep throwing. You don't worry about if Worthy and Ad and I are locked up. What's he gonna do? Like that's what I'm saying. You could worry about that. I'm not though. I'm worried about, and we can just draw a circle right back around to this. Is the interior. It's right back to the Quandarius situation. I guess that I would just stay right there. I could easily just stay right there. How about if we said this? Is there any way to say? Can we just say the Texas player that worries you the most that doesn't play on the interior offensive line? Yeah, let's do that.
That's the biggest worry.
I can't. Somebody mentioned David Benda in coverage. I mean, I can sort of see that. But
are you worried about the edges? Are you worried about getting pressure around those Alabama tackles?
I'm not worried, dude. I'm not so much worried about Barron Sorrell. I mean, it was concerning though that it was like if a tree falls in the woods, did it ever? What is that thing? Falls in the woods. Did it ever even really happen? It's did Barron Sorrell even really play? Like, did that whole thing even happen?
We saw Ethan Burt.
Yeah. You know what I'm worried about? I got it. This is what I'm worried about outside the interior. Is I'm worried about their situational play calling on offense. That's what I'm worried about.
That's very good. That's a good call. But that's not a Texas player. But you can talk about that though. I mean,
that's a good call.
Running Keelan Robinson just right up in the middle on that third down.
I knew you were hunting last week, and so I took notes during the game, and like literally, I think I wrote down 6 times. I was like, situational play calling. What are we doing here? Like that was just over and over and over again. It was like in the red zone, 3rd and shorts, opportunities to push the ball, not pushing the ball, or the inverse. I just think like overall, like if you go in, I just hope they go in with a plan. I hope they had a plan last week against Rice and it went how they kind of expected it to go, which was going to be like they're testing different things and whatever. And then this is like the real opening game for Texas right here. Like that's what I'm hoping for, right? I'm hoping that was not a trend, I should say.
So people are talking about the edge guys and the I just Terry Freeman in the chat just mentioned Alfred Collins and the edge losing contain. Clearly, I think that's an important deal. But what we saw last week, that Barron Sorrell can go into a game and be a complete ghost. He can be the tree falling in the woods that nobody here. I don't even know how that thing goes, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway. And he can, but it's not. I think if he's not productive or something like that doesn't give you nightmares to you're laying down in bed thinking like, oh God, what if Barron Sorrell only plays 50 snaps and only gets 2 pressures? That doesn't. What keeps me up is like, what if they get into one of those tight sets again, and somebody who like A.D. Mitchell just doesn't care again and just whiffs another big block and just gets somebody rocked. A.D. Mitchell's blocking worries me because it feels like that can end up in something calamitous. Whereas it just feels like out of the edge. I mean, at Texas, we've just been kind of used to not getting that much production from the edge. Now, from a season-long perspective, yeah, if Barron Sorrell has another dud of a game, you worry from a season-long perspective, saying like, well, God, what's Texas going to do as far as generating some pass rush from the outside? But and a lot more of the onus then turns to Anthony Hill and just saying, well, more packages with three linebackers, and what does that mean? Is it that mean less meat across the line of scrimmage? Does that mean you take out your nickel corner that's one of the best in the country? It's like, it's not like that trade-off comes without sacrifices, right? So you worry about that from a season-long perspective. But in the actual game, if there was a general lack of pass rush, I'm not sure that's it. So for me, I mean, if it's not the interior offensive line, I just say maybe Jaron Thompson just on the back end if he has one of his missed tackle games, and then A.D. Mitchell as far as a blocker on those screens. They're going to need to get the ball out quick, dude. That's another thing. They're going to need to just get the ball out quick to Worthy on the outside. So at the very beginning of this game, don't let – Darwin Lemon says, okay, what would he say? If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it make a sound? Yeah. That's it. I mean, did Barron Sorrell even make a sound last week? I'm not sure he did.
I want to kind of this is kind of, what did it say? It was a worry. Something I guess I don't think you guys have talked about a lot. I know CJ Baxter, the CJ Baxter question came up because of the injury, and it looks like he's at practice.
Yeah. He's gonna play. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, right. Sark says he's gonna play.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, like, last year in this game, they had 33 carries for like 79 yards, and if you take away the longest run, which is an arbitrary thing, if you take away the longest run, 32 for 59. So basically, it was like it didn't matter if they ran the ball, and they had Bijan and Roschon. Like, do you think they try to run the ball that much? Because they ran the ball 39 times this last week. I know it was Rice. They had 158 on the ground. Like, if all three of these guys, if Baxter's healthy, you had Blue, Brooks, and Baxter. Do you think that's an angle that Texas might take and try to do? Because last year, like I said, it didn't work. Like,
what did you mention? What did you mention about last year? Do you have the stats from last year pulled up?
33 carries for 79 yards, and if you take away the longest run, that's 32 for 59. They had a 20-yard run. So, and that's an arbitrary.
And that's with Bijan and Roschon.
Yeah,
you're gonna need to think, and also let's maybe it's not 90. I was looking at. I think it might have been 91. Who I was looking at. You really worry about there at the one shade. They have a pretty good rotation of dudes that just kind of come in and out. They have a bunch. God, man, Alabama is just a factory of these dancing bear type of defensive line prospects. It's just really amazing, Cody. But you're gonna have a little bit of trouble getting awesome push on those guys in inside zone. Feel like it's gonna be more of a.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you think they just go, no, we're going to throw the ball 45 times. We're going to try to throw the ball 45 times, and we're only going to run it 15 times? Or do you think it's going to be like, we're still going to try and hammer this thing 35 times and see if it fails or see if it works? Like,
earlier this week, Chad Hastings had some interesting stats. I don't remember them exactly, but one of them, he did stats on the teams that have beaten Alabama at home under Nick Saban.
Yep.
And one of the stats was that I'm pretty sure all 8 of those teams rushed the ball more than 30 times.
Okay. There you go.
I want to look at the Alabama game last year and just see, since they had that I'd forgotten that they had such a lack of success. running the ball. That's one.
I see a question in the chat from Sammy Sosa. It says you have to take out the sack yardage. Okay, so if you take out the 6 that are accounted for Hudson Card, 6 carries for 8 yards, that brings you down to 27 carries for 71 yards. Again, you take away the big one, that's 26 for 51. If that makes it any better for you.
So it would be divide 17 because some of the runs don't get. So 65% of the runs that were designed last year were inside zone. Only 3 power, and then 6. So basically, you're talking a heavy inside zone game last year, and that didn't work. And that makes sense that it wouldn't work, right? You get the solo base assignment with either the right guard or Jake Majors there at the beginning. You'll get the double team at the start, but those guys are hard to move. Those big guys for Alabama, they can anchor maybe a little bit more, maybe just maybe a little bit more outside zone. Make it easy for these guys with maybe with the pin and pull, maybe the outside zone with a little bit of the pin and pull, those fold blocks incorporated, right? Because Cody, that way the uncovered man can just block down on the covered man. That's an easy block, right? That's just a down block, right? And then the other guy can just pull around, and now he's in open space, and he's not having to move somebody right off the ball at a 45-degree angle or an outside wide zone angle. That's the answer for the run game to get it going. They need to incorporate the fold blocks into the outside zone game and just make it a pin and pull where they're going to be 2 pullers coming around when the runner is behind the line of scrimmage at that outside zone angle. I think that's the way you do it. And then you just got. I mean, I also think you just got to. You got to butter them up, man. You have to lather them up a little bit, right? You gotta make it where they can't pin their ears back. So this really feels like a game you unleash Cam Williams if Campbell can't go. I just don't. I mean, I think if Campbell is unable, I think if Campbell and Hudson are both able to go after last week, I think they'll put in Hudson. I think they will. Campbell's just showed a lot of issues. Showed a lot of issues last week. So we will certainly see about that. So those are hold on. What were you just talking about? Was that part of the game? Did I win?
That was a one-off
tangent.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure. I think. Hey, man. I think
we're just having a good conversation.
Cody and I just tied. We're having a great conversation. We're going to continue the game. Continue the conversation next.
Corey Redding, the linebacker from Galena Park, North Shore High School, USA Today rated him as the best high school defensive player in the nation. That's incredible. Today he verbally committed to play his college ball for Max Brown and the Horns. He's the kind of defensive difference maker the Texans hadn't been able to get in years past, so it appears things are changing.
This Orangebloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the most important recruiting wins in the history of the Texas program. Former 5-star defensive end Corey Redding out of Galena Park, North Shore. To completely understand the significance of Redding's commitment, you have to understand the context surrounding the recruitment. Redding's recruitment occurred just 2 years after another 5-star defensive end, David Warren, bypassed the Longhorns in favor of Florida State. New Texas head coach Mack Brown was trying to put the finishing touches on a number 1 ranked recruiting class, but he had to overcome the stigma that great defensive players didn't go to Texas and that the Longhorns couldn't go into the Houston area and land a truly elite player that didn't play his football in the suburbs. It wasn't going to be easy for the Longhorns, as Redding's top 3 included Colorado and Arizona, with the Wildcats having a big edge with Corey's brother Chris already in the Arizona program, which had his mom wanting both players to play their college careers together. Colorado was actually viewed as a potential party spoiler, but while Redding was on his official visit to Boulder, CU head coach Rick Neuheisel took the Washington job. And that basically eliminated the Buffs. That left Arizona and Texas to duke it out. And when push came to shove, Redding couldn't leave the Lone Star State. Moments before he announced his decision, Redding informed his mom that he was selecting the Longhorns. He told her, quote, "I'm a Texas boy. I want to go to college in Texas, marry a Texas woman, and have Texas babies," while she broke down in tears at the news. Moments later, he told the world the news.
Corey Redding, in 1998-99 season, will be attending the University of Texas.
Redding's commitment sent shockwaves throughout the recruiting landscape as Mac Brown's dominance in recruiting in Texas began that day and rarely slowed down for the next decade and a half. The Longhorns finished with the #1 overall recruiting class in 1999, with the USA Today's Defensive Player of the Year representing the cherry on top of a very tasty sundae.
Spent time with him and myself, and I was like, I want you to put it on my mind the next morning when I wake up. When I woke up, my hands was holding up that hook and sign.
Football with friends. It's fun as hell, man. It's fun. It's super fun on a Friday here. Orange Bloods Live, man. We got Blake Skaggs here with us. We got Cody Carpentier. I'm Alex Dunlap, man. We're your friends here as we ring in this big weekend, and hope you guys are starting to get ready for just a whole lot of fun, man. We're here to kick it off with you. We got a lot to get to. We're gonna keep on playing. Are there any questions left in the?
Yeah. I got a few more.
So we're gonna keep playing the game. Of course, Cody and I are like, we gotta win some cash this weekend. So I want to talk a little bit about DFS, some of the stuff on DraftKings for the NFL. My Circa Millions 5. I'm gonna have Cody. I'm gonna have the chat. You guys can tell me what you think of some of these. We gotta get a little bit of NFL draft talk and stuff when we have Cody and me on. We have to look at Prize Picks for tonight, man. We got a $20 protected play. If you haven't signed up at Prize Picks, please go do so and sign up with promo code Orangebloods. You get a free. They match your deposit up to $100. And tonight, if you play players that are playing tonight, and these are guys who I don't even know. I'll bet Cody doesn't even know who half these guys are. But we'll go through and we'll just put together a lineup, because we can just tell ourselves a story like we did last night, and then who knows, if it hits. It hits. If it doesn't, you get $20 back, right? It's a free $20 play, protected play. Flex Fridays over there at Prize Picks. And who doesn't love having a little bit of extra money in your pocket, especially when you're selling a home? It's a time whenever you have a million things going on. And look, you could have a friend on your side like Val Garcia. Look at Val Garcia. Oh, look at this man. Hey, I'm telling you, he's going to help you with your real estate transaction. ValenRealty.com. And guess what? If you're a teacher or you're in the ministry, free. He's going to sell your house for free. Do you know how much that usually costs? It usually costs 3% of your home price. He's going to do it for free. That's how much he cares about the teachers in his community. That's how much he cares about the ministry in his community. These are his people, and Val Garcia is our people. And hey, listen, it's not, even if you're not a teacher, even if you're not in the ministry, certainly if you know somebody in the DFW area who is, let them know. The guy to call, Val Garcia, Valen Realty, one of us. But even if you're not, you can call it Val. He'll sell your house for 1.5%. We're talking, if your house is worth, every house, it's hard to buy a house for less than $300,000-$400,000 these days. Say you buy a house for, selling a house for $400,000, Val Garcia is going to get you top dollar. But he's not going to charge you that $12,000 fee. He's going to charge you $6,000. What could you do with an extra $6,000? I think I put it all on Prize Picks. I put it on the more on Jordan Addison, 38.5 yards receiving this weekend. Cody, do you like Jordan Addison for over 38.5? Look, we can talk about it. But listen, ValenRealty.com. Yes, ValenRealty.com. Val Garcia, our guy, 469-647-8729. One of our great sponsors. Thank you. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, please email me, alex@rosterwatch.com. Rosterwatch.com. We need more sponsors. We want to get the show up and running. We want to keep it going, right? We want the show to be big and strong and powerful. So we need some sponsors. Alex@rosterwatch.com. All right. With all that being said, what do you think of that, Cody? 38.5 for Jordan Addison? Are you going to put the $6,000 down that you're going to get back from Val Garcia?
I would, yeah. I think that's a big game. I think it's kind of getting overlooked, I would say. It's an indoor game. I don't know. I think it's getting overlooked. It's an indoor game in Minnesota. Tampa's got Godwin and Mike Evans. Again, indoor, Baker Mayfield. I've mentioned it on other shows, but like back in 2019, both Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham had 1,000 yards receiving, plus Nick Chubb had 1,300 or 1,400 yards on the ground with Baker as quarterback. He sucks. I get it. He went to Oklahoma. He sucks. I get it. But he can throw the football. And I think that there's a world where he throws over 300 this weekend and he makes Tampa Bay push this game. And if Tampa Bay pushes it, that's all Minnesota needs to box. And it'll be a 10-round spar if Tampa can play.
Oh God, I hate this. I hate the sounds of that. But taking Minnesota in that game does feel like a little bit of a trap to me.
Yes,
it's gonna be it's gonna be a paced up game for both teams. And I was amazed to see that Baker Mayfield was popping on our DFS models. I said no way. When we have Sam Howell also so cheap versus you would play Sam Howell in DFS over Baker this weekend, right?
I don't think Arizona can play. I don't think
I think your cord came out of your mic. Something happened. It just kind of got like in the middle of when you were talking. Can you talk again? Yeah. All right, yeah.
All right. I don't think Arizona can box. I think it's going to be a no. I think it's going to be a 20-0 football game. You're going to get a lot of Brian Robinson. I think it's just not going to be much. Like I don't think Terry McLaurin's as healthy as they're saying he is. Logan Thomas isn't as healthy. Like I think they're literally going to pound the ball like 25 times with Robinson, and they're not going to make Sam Howell come out the gate shooting. I just think it's going to be a terrible football game. That's so I would go Baker, to be honest with you.
And that brings up one other point. Look, we're going to get back to the game. We don't want to lose all the Longhorn viewers and stuff. Like we'll get back to the game. Not to hey, you come here you're going to get a lot of fantasy and NFL talk here anyway, right? So
from the experts,
so Jamal Williams, it looks like Kendre Miller looks like he's not going to go for the Saints.
Yeah.
And Jamal Williams is down there at like 5,100 on DraftKings. It's looking like now, as I look around the industry at some of the ownership projections, it's looking like Jamal Williams is going to be one of the highest owned players on the whole entire slate. He costs the same exact amount as Brian Robinson. It feels like that would be a nice pivot. Nobody wants to. Everybody thinks. I think Brian Robinson kind of sucks. Everyone thinks he's kind of a slug. But it could be like you said. It could be a really good spot where they just kind of feed him with volume because Arizona is just so miserable. They're not going to be able to get any. It's like you said. There won't be any back and forth. It makes me think, man. It makes me think that God, it'd be so hard. It'd be so hard to bet on Washington minus like 7 points, though, right? It's like I'm not sure I can do that.
I think it's like I said. I think it's literally like a 20-0 football game. Like I don't think Arizona can do anything, and I don't think Washington cares to put 35 on them. And there's like I said, it's not even going to be like a spar. It's going to just be. They're going to go down there, and that defense is going to suffocate them, and they're just going to run. It's going to be a terrible game. Like I said, I couldn't say it enough. It's not going to be a good football game at all.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I mean, it's going to be football
for fantasy, for content, and all that. Like that game sucked. But like for people that watch football, they're going to be like, "Oh my God, this Washington defense is fantastic!" Like, that's why Washington's defense is chalk this week in all formats of everything.
Well, they're also 2,800 on D. They're also very, very, very cheap on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Okay, we'll get back to some of that talk here in a second. Let's get back to the game. What do we got here? Nobody's talking about the kicking game positive last weekend. I feel like they are. Jason is Shukamel, and he's always been a bit of a Bird Auburn. Why is he always been such a Bird Auburn fan? Even when Bird Auburn was a backup, he's out there.
He just likes the hair.
He liked his Sideshow Bob. Was that his name? Like the Bob Ross, whatever. You got. Does Auburn still have? I haven't noticed the afro as much this year. Maybe it's just that I'm used to it now. You think?
Probably.
Maybe that's it. I think I'm just used. It used to be like, whoa, look at the kicker over here. Look at that. Look at that hairdo on him. Dude, I feel like people are talking about the kicking game sort of being a strength for Texas right now, which is interesting. It's like sometimes these guys just kind of come.
Also, just welcome to all the Alabama fans tuning in. Nice to see you. Bama by 17. Take it to the bank.
Yeah, there you go, man. Brent Adams, great to see you. Look, man, Texas fans are going to be happy to be down there. I'll just say that the one thing that's most cockamamie about you people in Alabama is that you put white sauce on your barbecue. Just absolutely horrifying and disgusting. You know that, right, Cody? Have you seen that Alabama white sauce? Don't say it. It's a kid's show, but they do. It's a mayonnaise based sauce. Brent Adams, Brent Adams, do you put that on your barbecue? Because if you do, I'm not going to take your 17 points to the bank. I'm not taking it anywhere. I'm not going to trust the words you say.
I put white sauce on my brisket.
Really?
Yeah.
The Alabama kind?
Yeah.
Is it good?
I mean, the stuff we get in Virginia, it is. We got a good spot in Virginia. They literally work out of an Airstream trailer, and what
does it taste like? I don't need to taste it when I'm out there.
It's just good. It just goes good with, I don't know. I also have a weird taste buds. You know this, like I've told you, like I can't eat hot sauce. Like I literally will physically like die, like start sweating and stuff. So I can't have hot sauce. And then like I have a very like sugary tongue. Like I can eat Skittles and Nerds like it's my job. So I just have a different taste buds, I guess. So
can you eat that shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo?
Yes, but you remember sitting there, like I started sweating just like off the first like gun, like starts immediately sweating, and it's not even like it can be air conditioned cold, and I just start sweating. I don't get it.
We got Ben Webb saying that's almost as bad as what they do in Kansas City.
Dude,
Cody and I have some Kansas City barbecue stories from the draft.
That's a whole nother ball game. That is not even.
It's really bad when your brisket comes out and it's thin sliced and it's gray. Right.
It looks like it come out of a deli, and they're like, "Hey, this is your roast beef. Here, have your breakfast sandwich." I'm like, "Yo, this is not what this is."
All right. Back to the game. Back to the game. What do we have next?
All right. What about this? Is an interesting one. Player most likely to make the SportsCenter top 10 on either team.
Oh, that's a good one. On either team.
On either team.
Milroe. I want to go Adonai because I want to see like a sick catch. But I think Milroe, like breaking like 6 tackles, doing like some Vic or Anthony Richardson type thing, that's most likely to happen.
It's gonna be. Here's the thing. A.D. Mitchell is gonna score it. He is gonna score a touchdown. Hold on, Brent Adams. Well, look, hey, listen, Brent Adams. Bring up Brent Adams' chat. Listen, we'll see who's laughing tomorrow. I'll be sure to be back. Listen, if you eat white barbecue sauce, I'm going to laugh at you tomorrow. I'm going to laugh at you Sunday. I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you for the rest of my existence here on earth. Right? The football game to me, it'll come, it'll go, whatever. You can come back. I will love it if you come back. But if you eat that white barbecue sauce like Cody does, Brent Adams, you're never going to hear the end of it from me. The same way that Cody won't. It's to talk about disgusting. Ugh. White? Are you kidding me? It's like, ugh. Ugh. What was it? The player most likely to make the SportsCenter top 10?
Yes.
Milroe. It's not even close. I think you bring up Mitchell too. I brought up Mitchell. Like I think a sick catch from him could do it, but I think most likely it's Milroe breaking 4 tackles and going 60.
All right. Brent Adams is saying he's never heard of white barbecue sauce. You got to be all right. Brent Adams. This guy, he lives in Alabama and he's never heard of their signature barbecue product. You got to be. I'm already feeling like I can't trust this guy. He doesn't eat barbecue. That's almost as bad as being the guy that eats the white barbecue sauce. Anyway, can't trust him. Okay. So SportsCenter top 10. Of course, the most obvious would be Jalen Milroe. Second most obvious, A.D. Mitchell will score a touchdown. Right? He will. Now, how incredible and acrobatic a touchdown it is, that'll be whether or not it's a SportsCenter moment. And then Zay, big play Zay makes a big play. That would be Quinn Tuesday, I would say. But I'm with Cody. I think Milroe. Yeah.
I would agree with that. Milroe's probably going to be the guy. If he breaks a long run of 50, 60 yards, something like that would definitely make top 10.
So Cody and I tie that one?
Yeah, we'll tie that one. So if we tie that one 2-1 Cody with a tie, I think. Is that where we're at?
What?
2-1.
Or is it 1-1?
2-1.
What have we had? 3?
4.
Huh, 4. All right. Well, I got to make a comeback. Do I at least have one left?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 3rd and 10. Most important play of the game. Who gets the ball on the Texas side?
Oh gosh, it's just like that's a good question, man. I think it would depend on how the series has been set up
Give us a yard line. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the yard line? And also, how much
midfield
is
Drive
it?
the game.
Is it first half?
Fourth quarter. Fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter,
midfield,
midfield, 3rd and 10.
Down.
I just have to go chalk. You go to your guy, man. You just go to Xavier Worthy. You just throw it to him, or
even if he's on Kool-Aid or Kool-Aid's on him, whatever.
Would it be Whittington? They have that RPO stuff with that easy 10, that easy sort of 10 yards there in that soft spot in the zone that they attach that outside zone RPO to Whittington. Maybe it would be Whittington. Whittington could be the guy. I would say if not Worthy, it would be schemed up to where like Worthy's the first read, and they go to Whittington on that sort of inside, dig / slant that like we saw last week. I think that would be the play.
I like the Whittington one. I'm not going to copy it just for content's sake, but I'm between. I mentioned Jatavian earlier. I think Jatavian's a good piece to it, but I also think like one of the backs. I'd go like, if Baxter's in and Baxter's healthy throughout, I'd say Baxter on like a screen or something, or Jonathan Brooks who was out there last week and had a long run, something odd, an oddball play, something to a back out of the backfield, maybe a screen. That's probably where I would lean.
I got to take that one.
I think
it was situational play calling you were complaining about earlier, and you're talking about this.
Hey, what I'm saying is you're playing against Alabama. It's like they know who your good dudes are. What I'm thinking is like we saw last week the burst that Jonathan Brooks had. We saw last week some of the vision that CJ Baxter had. Like I think one of those two guys, if they're having a good game to that point, on a screen or lined up in the slot and on a bubble, something weird, some off-ball play where like Bama's not expecting you to run something in that situation because they're thinking, oh, they're looking at X, they're looking at Whittington, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of where I would go.
Based on one game, and I mean, I know that this is the first year that you've been watching Texas as closely as this, but you've watched Texas a lot. You watch all these teams, but let's say you were an alien first time. You're an alien. You come down. You're like alien from outer space.
Adnai.
Like, what question did you think I was going to ask? Because if
you were an alien from Earth and you came down and watched the game last week and you asked this question, that's who I would throw it to.
Okay, but this is different. Okay. You're alien. It's like okay. Is that how aliens talk?
I think so. I don't know.
Alien talk. You're like, you watched last week's game. What do you like best about Jonathan Brooks? What do you like best about CJ Baxter? And who do you think's better if you're an alien? And you've never seen either of them before. No preconceived notions.
Jonathan Brooks, I think, has nice acceleration burst, and he kind of like a Roshan type. I would say kind of like in that realm. But I think Baxter's better. Baxter's a better back. I think the vision's there, and yeah. That one run he had that he got hurt on, I was like, oh, dude, that was like that made me like rewind twice. I was like, damn. I rewinded a few more times because of the injury. It was confusing, but I also was like, that cutback and just the way he just accelerated and got out there was pretty clear. Like it's different. He's a different back than the other two. And then Red shouldn't even be on the field, in my opinion. But
at the very end, yeah.
I think basically
he's a specialty player. He'll work his way in a little bit, but I don't think he's going to.
I like Brooks. I just think he's I don't know. You call him like a poor man's Roshan, maybe something like this. I don't know.
Yeah. Whereas CJ Baxter has a chance to, really, really move into a real feature role. That's the same way I feel. And dude, I got yelled off Alex, how can you say this about Jay Brooks? Like all this, like I'm just like, what? It's like,
look in the chat. Exactly. Brooks is explosive. That's literally what, and that's Roshan. Like that's everything I think about Roshan. It's just like he was that big bruising, bursty back. That was a lot of B's, but it worked. Like that's what
Yeah, but also
His talent is Baxter.
But with Baxter too, I mean, I think hey, Darwin Lemon, are you saying that it took Baxter too long to accelerate on that play? You say Bama makes it a 3-yard play? Because I would say to Darwin Lemon, I mean, one of the things that the things that I do like, see, Darwin Lemon's one of these guys. Alex Brooks hadn't had a chance. It's like, well, he's been here a few years. I mean, I don't look at that play and look at a guy that didn't do well to accelerate. I looked at it. I look at a guy who has really, really good vision. He's a lot of sheddability through the hips, good contact balance. He picks his spot. He's decisive, and he gets through the slog, and then he's off to the races. I don't think that was not everybody's just a dynamic slasher that's just right with the first step up field. They're 0 to 100. There's different kinds of running styles. Baxter's got a lot of really, really, really good gifts. Okay.
And so with the game, I believe we're tied as the last one went to Alex, or at least that's the way we should go with it. One more. We'll go with this as the tiebreak, right?
All right.
Score.
Player who will be the biggest surprise.
All right, Alex, you go first.
Okay. The player who will be the biggest surprise, I'll say it's going to be.
I've been saving this one for a minute, so I'm ready.
I think. You know,
I've been this one for like
it'll
3
be
days.
it'll be Jake. It'll be Jake Majors playing a good game. Jake Majors playing a good game, holding up in pass protection, helping with identifying stunts, getting a little bit better push whenever he gets help on the double teams.
Darwin Lemon, Travis Hunter does not play for Texas. Sorry, I wish.
Darwin Lemon always has Travis Hunter on the mind, doesn't he?
Rightfully so. He's a beast.
I do. For some reason, I'm kind of absurdly not that worried about Jake Majors as I am about what's going to happen at right guard. So I think that would be a surprise to a lot of people because they all played so miserably last week. I'm willing to chalk a little bit of it just up to rust and up to just getting out the cobwebs, right? Jake's a smart enough player. I think he knows what a big game this is, and I think he'll play reasonably. And I think just playing reasonably for him after that miserable game last week is going to be a big surprise for folks.
Mr. Cody?
I don't want to do with that one. So I really feel like what drive did you say that Jonte came in on? Like the 10th drive last week? Was it the 9th or 10th drive?
No, it was the hold on. I can pull it up. Jonte Cook would be a good one to bring up, but let's see. Deep Day 2023 skill player participation chart for Rice. Jonte didn't come in until
10th drive, 9th drive.
Oh my gosh, you're right, man. You got a better memory than me. 10th drive. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not. I was thinking like I don't know. I've had like these thoughts like the last 3 days, like I just mentioned, of like he's going to get an opportunity in this game. I don't know. I think it was just something I saw last week. In he has a lot. He's got a lot pent up in there. I'm not saying it's like Zachariah Branch type breakout or anything like this.
No, he's good. Yeah.
There's a lot pent up in there, and I think if they have something drawn up for him, like it could be like a boom. Like I don't know. I'm just saying. Like I just got a weird itch about that. But I'm not going to go with that. I think that's just a good honorable mention. I'm going to go with a guy we haven't even said his name once. All right. You talked all bad about Alfred Collins this week because he didn't play great. Devondre Stett's a big focus. Mm-hmm. Who's right next to him?
Murphy.
Murphy's the guy. Murphy's having a big game. That's it right there.
He is, isn't he?
Cody
wins.
The whole game. Byron Murphy. This is a Byron Murphy
game.
Such a
good answer. Yeah. Cody wins, doesn't he?
Cody with the dub.
Oh, gosh. This is so obvious. It's just right there. Of course he's going to have a big game. We haven't talked about him at all. He played great last week.
I haven't said his name once.
He played great last week. No one's talked about it.
I think you've literally said everybody on the entire defense and like half the second guys.
And the kicker.
And the kicker. Except for him. I think You haven't, I don't know, maybe you haven't said Terrence Brooks' name, but like literally everybody else, I think you've said their name except for him.
Cody, let's look at tonight on Prize Picks. We got a free $20 play that we got to get done. I also want to hear your thoughts on my 5 pick of my NFL picks for the week, for the Circa Millions contests. Also, just kind of going over a few injury things in the NFL, some fantasy stuff opening up. Christian Watson this weekend for
that's a burner.
The Green Bay Packers. Darren Waller showing up as a surprise DMP, now questionable late in the week for a night game. If you have him in fantasy, we'll tell you what you might want to be doing there as far as other options. We just have a ton more stuff to get to. Cody, so good to hang with us for the show. We all know that you love having him on, so we're going to talk about all that stuff next.
This Orangebloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the most infamous recruitments of the last decade, a recruitment that ended with what has forever been remembered as Malikmas. Malik Jefferson was a 5-star prospect by Rivals when he signed with the Longhorns, finishing as the nation's number 28 overall prospect, the second best prospect in Texas, and the number 1 outside linebacker in the country, according to Rivals.com. While Jefferson is sometimes remembered for never quite emerging as a superstar for the Longhorns, look at who was ranked ahead of him in these 2015 in-state rankings and just below him. While Kyler Murray should have been the number 1 prospect in retrospect, Jefferson was easily the best of the top kids in the Rivals rankings that year. What most people remember about the Jefferson recruitment is that it was a close victory over Texas A&M and seemed to launch the Charlie Strong era into the stratosphere. For most of the recruiting process, Jefferson was leaning heavily to Texas A&M, but when the Aggies went through a defensive coordinator search following the 2014 season, Jefferson and A&M coach Kevin Sumlin had a bit of a disconnect, as Sumlin wasn't very open with his plans for a hire, which Jefferson felt was critical information to any decision that he was going to make. That disconnect opened the door for Strong to step in. When Jefferson made his announcement on December 19th, 6 days from Christmas, Strong was able to completely swing the recruitment into UT's direction.
Jefferson chooses the University of Texas at Austin.
Jefferson was part of a 2015 recruiting class that finished 12th in the nation in the final Rivals.com rankings in what turned out to be Charlie Strong's first full recruiting class as coach of the Longhorns.
All right. Football with friends. It's fun as hell. I lost the game. So here we go. So this is from Fired Up Hot Sauces. High heat Texas hot sauce. Man, this guy's one of us, dude. If you want some good hot sauces, I haven't tried this one yet. I've tried the Gringo one, is my favorite. He's got the chili pecan that's really good too. But this time, no Ritz crackers. Like I said, we need some more sponsors. Alex at rosterwatch.com, because that way I could afford to buy another $4.99 box of Ritz crackers. This is just in an old bag left over from when we got Mexican food the other day.
I was just going to say, when you held that thing up and you just kind of flashed it up and you had the hot sauce in the other hand, I thought right away that was like a bag of pulled pork. And I don't know if that's my inner just carnivore or what, but I literally just thought you went like this. I thought it was a bag of pulled pork. I thought you were going to dabble the hot sauce in there and take a forkful out of pulled pork. I think I'd be more impressed if you did that instead of a chip.
Hold on. Well, of course you would. You're a total carnivore, dog. You're a total savage. All right, here we go. I can't put much on because this is too hot.
Just make it up a little bit, up a little bit, up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. That's got to be enough of this.
You shake it up at all?
What?
You got to shake it up a little bit, man. What is that?
I did shake it. It's shaking. Look, it's good.
See? It's like as thick as Nutella or what?
It's fine. I'm good. And I'll be good. Ooh,
all right. Give it a grade 0 out of 40.
Oh, as far as the heat scale, let's see where. Oh God,
how good it is.
The heat. That's where you put the heat level. No, it's a hot sauce, Cody. It's good though, nice and flavorful. Fired up hot sauce. Man, there's some people that buy this hot sauce really just like a lot of extra heat on it. I think that's the way they like it. You guys in the chat like the super hot sauces? Goodness gracious.
I can't do I love, so it's like the very basic barbecue sauce, right, that everybody can get. It's like Sweet Baby Ray's is like what I grew up eating, and we'd eat so much barbecue sauce, and my grandma started making her own barbecue sauce by the gallon, and she just dropped gallons off at the house, and she made it to where it's not as literally, like I told you, I can't eat spicy sauce or spicy anything. So it was like that's what Sweet Baby Ray's what I was getting at. Sweet Baby Ray's is like too hot for my tongue, and Sweet Baby Ray's is obviously not hot.
This is hotter than like the habanero, habanero Yellowbird.
How's your nose doing?
It's fine. It's fine now. It was tough. I was having a tough time with some allergies yesterday. That'll clear out the sinuses. Look, it's good. It's good. Very flavorful. Very flavorful, man. If you like this kind of hot sauce, man, give our guy a fired up hotsauces.com or fireduphot.sauce.com. Cody, can you do the rest of the show, please?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so we got you want to dive into tonight's games, or you want to talk about a couple just on the surface for tomorrow?
How about this? Can we just can we just go through prize picks and look at, so I don't forget to put in an entry for tonight and just see if there's any of these games that we even know what's going on.
So we got Indiana State at Indiana, which is on the Big Ten Network at 6:00, and then we have Illinois at Kansas on ESPN2 at 6:30. And Illinois, Kansas should have Jalen Daniels back tonight as well.
They don't. I wish that I wonder if they have a.
So you probably have to type. So Lawrence Arnold's one right there showing, and then you can see like a bunch of Illinois guys on there. I'm sure they don't have a Jalen Daniels one because it's his debut game.
Lawrence Arnold. What do you think about
Devin
the 50
Neal? Okay, so you're talking about Lawrence Arnold.
So the Kansas. So would you do you think that Devin Neal would have the bigger game or Arnold?
Devin Neal. I think Devin Neal will have better in the run game. Yeah.
Over 71.5. That feels like a lot. Is it not? I don't even know.
I think it'd be a good game.
I haven't watched Kansas yet this year.
They didn't. Well, Jalen Daniels didn't play last week, so it's kind of a different one. So he had 13 for 94 last week and a touchdown. He averaged 7 per carry.
Versus who?
Who'd they play? Missouri State, non-major. They won 48-17. Can't really get a lot of information.
He's going less. And then
going less.
Yeah, and then for the receiving yards, so
Arnold went 4 for 77 last week.
Who did?
Arnold with the other quarterback.
Well, and so Arnold. So let's correlate Arnold with going more. Receiving yards for Arnold, he'll go more. And on the other side of this game, Kansas is playing Illinois. So wide receivers from other teams correlate well with one another. So I don't even know who Isaiah Williams is.
I have some access to like unabated.com, which is a pretty cool website. You can use promo code Cody to go check that out to get a 5-day free trial. But they have an edge tool for college picks. And they have some out here, but it's a lot of lowers on receivers. So they're going like lower on Pat Bryant for receptions, which is 3.5. That's the top edge of the night. And then
hold on. Lower on Pat Bryant for receptions. What do they think about my Devin Neal less and my Lawrence Arnold more?
They don't have a Devin Neal. They only have Devin Neal up. They have the number up, but they don't have an edge on it. So I'm not sure.
What is their number? Do you know?
They don't have a number on. That's what I'm saying. They only have the numbers up for Illinois guys. So I think the Kansas side of everything in this game is just different for a
up
lot
in
of
the air because they don't know what's going to happen with the quarterbacks.
Yeah. So the Illinois side's where a lot of these numbers are at. Tip Raymond, they got lower on receiving yards. It's like 19.5.
Raymond,
it's a low number. Yeah. Tip is his first name.
Well, let me see if I can find him. TIP. Tip Raymond lower. Okay.
Yeah, it's their tight end. He had 2 catches last week for 33.
Okay.
What do we got now? 3 or is that 4?
Anything else at all?
Oh, the rest of them are negative edge.
Okay, so do we have guys for both teams? Perfect. All right, there we go. Payouts, different payouts. The result of this combination of players. What? I need to be a flex play. All right. 20 to make 100. So this is what we'll do. Devin Neal less, Lawrence Arnold more, Pat Bryant less, Tip Ryman less on the receiving yards. And we will place the entry because it's free. There we go.
Sick.
All right. Let's talk about whether or not you like these, what you think about these picks for the Circa.
Okay.
So we have, and you got to remember that Siege and I have to agree on this. Okay,
Yep.
but
So that's
what do
you
you
should always. You mentioned it a couple of times. You're working with Siege. It's like anybody anybody in the space should know. Like doing things with another person makes a lot of these. It's harder, but it's also it gives you that second thought because I think a lot of things when we've worked together, it's like I don't like this guy, and you're like, well, why? And then we talk about it, and I think that's I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but we have a lot of those talks. But the one thing that Siege won't let me do with the exception of Rams at Seattle is not let me take any division favorites in this first week.
I know you heard Lombardi earlier this week talk about this.
Division favorites?
This Rams Seahawks game.
Yeah, I don't care what Lombardi said about it. I mean, I love Lombardi. I've listened to most of his content. I've read every book he's ever written. I actually just downloaded Football Done Right. I'm gonna start listening to it. Michael Lombardi, for those who don't know, I mean, major influence on me the way I think about football at the NFL level. Clearly, he wasn't an influence on me learning about football growing up and stuff, but he's a
that was
super,
my question.
super
I just want to know if
guy.
you heard that because that was when I heard you talk about him only letting you pick that game, and I was like, wait, I know Alex heard this.
Let's talk about that one. Rams at Seattle. Seattle's only -5.5. Everything on the roster watch matchup tool shows that that Seattle should smash at all the different positions. I was just hearing who was it? It was like Lord Reeves or somebody. Was it Daigle? I forgot who it was. Basically saying what we know. Do you remember when we were making the strength of schedule for the matchup tool? And I was just like, Cody, who are some of these linebackers they have? They outside of Aaron Donald on that defense, they only have 2 other starters that were picked within the first 2 days of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like undrafted dudes or day 3 scrubs and stuff that the offensive line's not very good. I know that Stafford's healthy, and Lombardi was saying look, as long as Stafford's healthy, then they're gonna have a puncher's chance. But God, there's definitely no. Was that before Kupp got hurt or before I guess Kupp was already kind of hurt by then.
Hurt all week. It's official, the official stuff. No, yeah, that was obviously like on Monday.
Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, kind of. Are you kidding me? I've soured on Cam Akers. Kyron Williams hasn't ever done a thing. Bad O-line. Seattle is they've gotten better defense. What is Van Jefferson on the outside going to go up against UTSA home? Oh, how do I forget Tariq? Is it Tariq Woolen? Yeah, yes, come on. It's I don't see much happening here for the Rams. But I don't. So you think that's a bad pick? That's a sucker bet?
I didn't say it was a bad pick. I just wanted to ask you the question because I put the thought out at the end of last year is if you look at how Geno started last year, the first 12 games, he was 72% completion percentage and he had 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and they were solid. They won 7 games in those 12, right? They were 7-5, but then down the stretch, they lost 3 of 5, and his completion percentage dropped 9 points, and he threw 8 touchdowns and 5 picks. Is Geno? I know he's got more talent now with JSN in there, but Geno has been banged up for he's been there this week, but the week before he wasn't there. The running game should be stronger.
And he'll be playing with a cast on his
everything on paper. Yeah, everything on paper definitely says to go Seattle, but I'm just I don't know.
The fact is, we don't know much
these
anything
division games. 5.5 is a weird number too. If it was 9, I'd be 100% going Rams just because it's a divisional game. But 5.5 is a really weird number, I think, for this one.
Yeah, to me, it was I when I thought about what this line should be in my head, I thought it should be -7. So it was if it's -5.5, I felt like I should take it. Okay. All right, here's the other one. Where's my circa millions thread here? Okay, so Philly -4 at the Patriots. Are you okay with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to be okay with this one, I don't think. The Raiders +3.5 at Denver.
No.
What? Why don't you like it?
I think that Peyton's going to have a plan going in, and I think that Russ and Sutton are going to have a connection. I don't know what the tight end room looks like. I think they're going to have a connection, and I think they're going to have a run game. And last year, Adams and Surtain matched up, and Surtain's a top 3 cornerback in the NFL right now, and Adams had a massive game. I think it's
that's good for the Raiders, right? That's good.
What I'm saying is either thing can happen, but we've seen like these corners like in that second, third, and that third, fourth year take massive leaps. And if he takes a massive leap, and if he can slow Adams down at all, I don't know what the rest of that game looks like for the Raiders. I like their front seven, but I think Denver. I think this is I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think Sutton's on we'll talk about DFS in a minute, but I think Sutton's one of my DFS interests this week because I think there's going to be a mad connection there between him and Russ.
Okay, so I'm just looking at it right now. So over on DraftKings, the Raiders, and I'm just looking at our premium tools section over at Roster Watch that has the betting insights and stuff and has the picks from the algo. I think that the algo picked Denver for this one as well, but Siege and I talked ourselves into it. For one, it's just from having Byron at that training camp and all the reports he had about how the Raiders during the joint practices were just dominating that San Francisco 49ers offensive line. And I think that defense could be a small bit underrated. And then the other thing is what? 3.5?
Okay.
3.5 versus, and it's Russell Wilson. And I was like, I refuse to think that he can't just still really suck. He was so bad last year, man.
I did a show with Corey Parson today over at Sportstopia, and we were talking about basically all the DFS slate. And I basically was like, hey, man, this is what I think about Cortland Sutton and Russell Wilson. What do you think about Russ? And he's like, man, he's a stiff.
Old Corey Parson, man.
It's good. He's as flat as you can put it right there.
The fantasy exec, dude. He used to be a producer over on the channel, over on the Sirius channel. Okay, let's see. So the 59% of tickets are on the Raiders, but there's been a money shift towards the Broncos. They're now at 51%. Yesterday they were only at like 30. They were at 39 or 38%. So money is actually, it makes me a little worried. There's been money coming in on the Broncos, minus the 3.5 points, sharp money. So I don't know. We still have time to change. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him off that pick. All right, how about this one? Miami +3 at the Chargers. To me, this is the game of the week. I'm looking forward to this game more than any other one. It should be a awesome, quarterback matchup. We should see a lot of offense here. It's going to be a back and forth game. I think that these two teams, especially now that we know that Jalen Waddles looks like he's good to go for Miami. If Tua can stay upright, and he's been doing all the jiu-jitsu stuff and been learning the break falls and all the things my kids learn in their jiu-jitsu class. I know for a fact how well that stuff teaches you about how to break your fall and not hit your head and everything like that. So with Tua, I'm a little bit less worried than I was last year, now that he's probably a little bit more aware of how to fall. And we actually saw a little bit of that. It was either in preseason or in some clips from camp where he actually kind of did get, I guess it wouldn't have been from camp because he wouldn't have got hit. It would have had to be in the preseason where he did take a hit. And he fell really, really well. I think that's something where I think about that game and I try to make a line for myself. And I'm like, it feels more like a pick 'em to me. And maybe since it does feel like a pick 'em, they give the Chargers 3 points for home field advantage is the way I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've thought all week this is going to be a great game. I think this one and the Vikings game are the two shootouts. I think this is a 31-30, 41-40 type of game.
Tennessee at New Orleans, which we're going to take New Orleans -3, and we were thinking that line might change because Cody, if you look at the amount, nobody is betting on the Saints here. Nobody. I was just looking at it earlier. I want to see if it's still like this. the bet percentage is 34% on the Saints, but only 7%. There's absolutely no money on the Saints. 7% of the money is on the Saints, and I generally would hate that, right? Because you got 34% of the public, only 7% of the money. But here's the thing: it means that the books haven't shifted the line one bit. They haven't shifted the juice. They haven't done anything. It's just still at -3. Yeah. It makes me think that they're like, look, man, like we're putting a -3 and we're not changing it. And if we need the Saints this weekend, we need the Saints. And whenever the sportsbook says we need this team, that's a team that I want to get behind.
I'm Team Saints. I mean, I think the Saints are I have told you this 10 times. I think they're going to win the South. I think they're a very good squad. Carr, Thomas, Olave, Juwan, all the way through the backfield, the offensive line, defensive line, like literally love the whole team. And generally I hate the Saints, but I think Tennessee's one of the biggest toss-ups in the league right now. We just don't know what we're going to get. Burks is back. We think it's going to be Hopkins focused, 30% target share, but that offensive line is no. So I don't know what
very, very bad.
Like. And Henry is entirety of his career has been his worst in September, averaging less than 4 yards per carry. So I just don't know what we're going to get out of Tennessee. I love New Orleans in that one.
Eric Hoffman saying, as your boy is a top 5 DFS player in the world, are you top 5 in the world? Is that your same avatar on DraftKings? Because I've seen that avatar for sure, Hoff. Yeah, on some of the leaderboards. Anthony Richardson is the best play in DFS. Deshaun Watson is not. So
have you made a team yet for the Millie? Like your favorite team?
No, I'm still messing with my cash game, and it's getting a little bit. So I do have Richardson in my cash game. I was trying to fit in CMC. What do you think about Raheem Mostert this week in that 9 high scoring game? Yeah, and he's like 5,200 on DK. I got in Tyreek. I got in. I'm trying to correlate the game, right? I got him. I want that game, right? So I got Keenan Allen, Tyreek, Mostert. At the tight end, I put in Musgrave because he's 2,900, and there's going to be no Christian Watson. We still don't know about Romeo Doubs. For that same reason, I put in Jaden Reed at 3K, right? To be able to fit all these dudes, and I'm still missing one receiver. Oh. I got in Ridley to correlate to bring back from the Anthony Richardson stuff. And then I got the Raiders defense. I mean, that's a hell of a team. You still have 100 left over. That's kind of like my sort of weird cash game core. I think it's interesting enough to where I could probably put it into some small field single entry stuff. I think that probably having the Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen will probably be pretty highly owned as people will be targeting that game, right? But I think getting the guys like Reed and I think that the people will be using Richardson. They might not use Ridley. Maybe they will, but that's kind of my cash game. I haven't thought about tournaments yet. I'll get off a bunch for tournaments. You know me. I'll find a weird game and I'll start with a primary stack there, and then fill it in with other guys who I like.
One guy you didn't mention in that game, I know you're going to be like, right away, you're going to say, no, completely no, is Quentin Johnston.
Oh, no. Of course I'm going to say no.
Listen, he's like 3,400. He's going to have no ownership, 0.1%, and everyone hates him. Yeah. And it's that one guy that if you put him in that, if you have a game stack in that one, and he's like your fourth dude, all I'm saying, dude,
can't get out Josh Palmer.
Yeah, that's what the internet's telling you, but that's not what everybody that's been there saying that. And all I'm saying is if he catches 3 footballs, if he catches 2 slants and 1 deep ball, and he goes 3 for 94 and a touchdown, you're gonna like it.
Jay Ward saying, you're not going to the game, Alex? No, I'm not. I haven't been to a game in years. You should have had Catch hook you up with a press pass. You're a big time show host. No. I mean, I've been there. I'm the same I'm the same analyst as I've always been. I have the same press credentials. I've had press credentials for Texas forever. It's like I don't need Catch to hook me up with a pass to go to the game. I could say that I'm Alex with Sirius XM or with Roster Watch or what, Catch. I don't need Catch to get me in. I can't go because I have radio on the weekends. Yeah, got radio. I got the TV stuff with Roto Grinders. I got I don't just sit here and talk 2 hours a day with you guys, man. I got to do radio stuff. I got to do, the DFS stuff with the Roto Grinders guys and Derek Carty and Chief Justice 06. So, yeah, man, I got work. Plus, I just like who wants to go to these games, dude? I like to sit around. I like to go to Specs, man. Get some drinks, get some spirits and finer foods. Gosh, I feel like I've been doing that since 1962. Low priced, amazing. But I have a bathroom right here. I got a TV. It's HD. It's like, come on, man.
All right. What are we going
to? Oh my gosh, share this, Alex. I just tuned in and give me your dark horse fantasy player this week. Glad to see you on today, Eric OMK, man. Oh, old man Keller from the old fraternity days. We called him OMK because he graduated like 10 years before any of us, but still come creeping around the fraternity for all the parties. Keller, great to see you, brother. The dark horse fantasy player. Well, OMK. I mean, it just depends on it. And first of all, it's good to see you on today. First of all, I'm on every day from 3:30 to 5:30. So make sure and come and check it back out again. The fantasy play this week. That's like, if we're talking just super deep under the radar. Cody, is Marvin Mims deep enough? I mean, he's going to be just a smash. Marvin Mims he's going
to be chalked.
Well, right, but he's saying for his home fantasy league, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's got to get somebody in. Maybe Cooper Kupp's hurt. Maybe something like Marvin Mims for the Broncos would be a good one. Yep. Another rookie wide receiver, Jaden Reed from the Packers, would be a good one. I think so. I saw that Tank Dell was listed behind Nico Collins on the initial depth chart this week. Do you think that means anything?
No. Down in
Houston, I think the Tank would probably be okay as far as a super kind of deep play. If you're looking at running backs, just off the top of my head, you could go up to Indianapolis. I'll bet you that Deion Jackson is probably not being used in your league. Maybe somebody drafted him, but Jonathan Taylor's out right now. Zach, has there been word today about whether Zach Moss practiced, Cody?
I saw a limited practice. So he did. Well, he was there.
So he goes from DNP to actually limited. That's not good. I would keep an eye maybe on that Indy situation. Which I think if Zach Moss went, you would get in Moss over Deion Jackson, right?
Yeah, I got a hole over both of them, but yeah, I think Moss over Deion Jackson.
You like Evan Hull over both?
Yeah, I think they're all bad plays. I think they're all bad plays, but I think Hull's the best out of the three. If you were like, I got to play Colts, like, yeah, have at it. But
at tight end this weekend, I would think that if Darren Waller doesn't go, you could get in Daniel Bellinger. That could be good. But then, I love Hayden Hurst. He's probably not taken in your league for the Carolina Panthers. Cody can talk about what he saw out of him when he was at the Panthers training camp, but it looks like, just do you want to say Hurst or like, and then Musgrave, it feels like would be a good one, especially with Christian Watson being out. Again, Romeo Doubs having a hamstring. I really like both Jaden Reed, the rookie wide receiver from Michigan State, and Luke Musgrave from Oregon State, right?
Oregon State, yeah. I think those are the guys. I think Higbee's interesting. Higbee's owned in more often than not. But I think he's with other targets.
He was popping in our trends. He was popping in our trends. And we kept saying, why does Byron keep on taking all this Tyler Higbee? Why does he keep – but Byron got bailed out, right, with the cheat sheets because he couldn't have known that Cooper Kupp was going to be this messed up.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think with that whole situation. I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing.
You were tilted that you were tilted that he had Higbee ahead of Hurst. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I know.
I guess you probably still are.
Like, I don't think he's getting bailed out because of targets. Like that's exactly what it is. But like even my thoughts on Hurst. I mean, I still am going to say this. I've been saying it for the last month. It's like he's going to lead the Panthers in targets straight up. So, and now it looks like Higbee's going to lead the Rams in targets at this current rate. So we'll see what happens. But
dude, look at this message in the chat. Travis Acton. So we got another Bama fan here. Man, when you get to Alabama, come to Leeds. Come to Leeds to Rusty's Barbecue and try our. Oh, he's saying our. So I guess it's his spot. Woo,
nice.
Got
nice.
a business.
Congrats,
got a business owner. Hey, if you're interested in sponsoring the show about the Texas Longhorns, you can always email me, alex@rosterwatch.com. I don't know how many people we'd be able to send your way in Leeds, Alabama, but we could certainly try. Definitely try. Try our white sauce.
Texas going to the SEC, so you're going to be playing an SEC country.
Yeah, hey man, it's a good idea. Alex@rosterwatch.com. I didn't grow up down south, and it's one of the weirdest thought, but best taste ever. Cody,
I think it all depends on the white sauce, dude. I think you maybe just had a bad experience.
You and that guy Brent something. What was his name? Brent Adams. Brent Adams. You can't trust him. Can't trust this guy. I'm not gonna call him names. I'm just gonna say he's just impossible to trust. All right, Cody. We just have a few more minutes left. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother. They all know where to find you on Twitter, right? Just at Carpentier NFL. Have you sent me your DFS picks yet? So I can put them into the trends.
I have them on my thing. I just haven't finished them yet, but I'm going to. But I wanted to ask you this because I figured it would have gotten brought up earlier. But did you put a prediction out for the game yet?
It went up on Orangebloods, but I can say it now, and I can just go ahead and have everyone get mad at me and leave the chat and leave one with a bad taste in their mouth about my prediction for the game because I'm not. I'm saying Alabama 33, Texas 20. What is yours?
Ooh. Jesus.
And I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to come on here next week and just go through the deep dig and just go through a losing deep dig. It's like, it would be so much. There's so many reasons why I want Texas to win. I mean, we're going to my neighbor's house with the kids. We're having parties during the day. We're like, as soon as I get off radio, man, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be go time. You know, I got a buddy that's a coach at SMU. I'm gonna get to watch those guys play Oklahoma, and then we get to watch Texas play Bama. It's like it's gonna be a lot of fun, and my kids are gonna be dressed up from head to toe with all their burnt orange. And my wife, and you know my wife, she was on Texas Palm, right? Her sister was in the band, and it's like there's this play. Whenever you come to Austin, you'll see, man. It's like the burnt orange Bevo came and puked up everything around the house. It's, I mean, like I want Texas to win, man. But this is just my prediction.
I'm going 1916 Texas.
Oh, there's Cody. Like once again, everyone's favorite.
1916 Texas.
All right. He'll be back as a featured co-host here on the show. We're going to be getting Cody on more and more as we grow the show and continue to build the audience here, especially as we get into draft season. And that's when Cody, of course, is always at his best. So Cody Carpentier at Carpentier NFL, thank you so much for coming on. For Blake, I'm out.